Alright, wanted to go over TWMC. It was a huge runner today. Wanted to talk a bit about it. So right off the bat, you can see that it's a big former runner. It's had multiple days where it goes, $10 a share, $5 a share, $3, $4, but multiple examples of where it's had some big runs. It's a low float. It's a low float former runner. News this morning had a recent split, which doesn't show up anymore because this was 4 months ago, I believe, or maybe 5 months ago. It's been a while, but this was basically the first big news off of the split. So that can create some massive runners. Now I saw the news come out on it, and basically in the first minute it goes from 250 to 380, which is crazy. I mean, this is just I just saw this and I go, well, how am I going to play this? It's already up so much in the first minute. I don't know how I can feel safe. So I decided, I'm not gonna take an entry pre-market. I'm gonna stick to my rules, and right now my rule is just observe pre-market, try to learn from it. But it does form a nice little wedge here, and this makes me think, okay, maybe I could have taken this. Forms a clean wedge with some volume descending, and then we get like this surge over this wedge with looks like 12K volume. It's hard to say. It's definitely hard to say. If I had taken it pre-market, I'm thinking 100 shares, right? Not a big position. It's just very risky. It's already up so much. I can only see myself really taking 100 shares. So anyways, that would have been a great entry. Let's say 430, 100 shares, risking 385. Seems reasonable. It's about a $50 risk if you're taking 100 shares. And I guess the plan would be to hold it for a morning spike. I think that would be a pretty good plan. So in the first minute, it looks like it may have dipped just a tiny bit to 480. And then this thing just takes off. It just goes straight up all the way to 975. It was incredible. All I could do was watch it, just did not feel comfortable. I just didn't feel comfortable for an entry the entire time. So just one of those things, maybe in the future, if I get a little more experienced with things that are this wild, I could potentially try to play it. Like I said, I wouldn't mind taking the pre-market entry in the future. Whenever you get fresh news on a split, crazy things can happen, and maybe pre-market is a good idea. In this case, definitely would have been great. Time will tell, maybe in the future I'll look into some more pre-market plays, but just wanted to go over this for my own sake because I need to get better at these. These are some massive plays. Crazy move. Haven't seen a move this powerful in a while, so well, in the first 3 minutes of the day. 3 minutes go by and the thing goes up 100%. It's just incredible. So I want to go over my first entry on this. So it goes from 975 and I see it hit the 630. That's a pretty substantial pullback. And what I noticed is that we're forming like a micro triangle, and at the same time I noticed volume has really washed out. So my thought process was, okay, if this is the bottom and I can catch reversal, I can take a small number of shares and maybe get a quick dollar a share pop. This thing is so crazy. I could probably scalp this for $1 a share. It'll be great, So I like the way it forms. I see it's holding, and then I just take the entry. I take 300 shares at 645, and I did get a nice pop. I got a nice volume surge. It went into 685, and I was pretty confident. I thought, okay, this is great. I'm gonna get $1 a share scalp. I'm gonna make $300. And what happened is it doesn't go, and then it just starts to come down. And I have seen plays that don't take off like this, and instead of holding, they shoot down $1 a share. Okay, so I got scared out of this thing. I took a small loss on it. It is what it is. I did end up being right. Doesn't matter though if you don't execute it properly. This doesn't matter if you're right. As you can see, did end up getting the trend I wanted. Nice. It goes to 765. That was very nice. I don't count this consolidation, and then it ripped again to 809, 810. I don't count that because um, my plan was just to scalp it. So I know for a fact I would have been out for a $300 win. Would have had a sitting limit at 744, something like that. There's no way I would have held through this. My play was just get in, take the reversal, scalp it, get out for 300. It was a good plan. It almost worked out, but I just was a little off, and had it bottomed and it held, maybe I should have re-entered it right here at 655. But at that point, I just wasn't comfortable, and when things don't go like exactly as I envision, sometimes I just would rather just sit it out. So I sat that out, and it wasn't until way later that I took a second entry on it. So what I noticed is this thing was holding all day. I mean, I feel like so little. I'll try to map it out here. It's been holding all day, and it's basically forming a giant symmetric triangle. And my thought process was, if it holds this bottom and it reverses and it reclaims view up, and now we're in power hour, if this thing starts to squeeze, there's nothing that would stop it from getting to 10. And my thought process was, this thing's going to hit 10. So I was watching it very closely. I really felt strongly that there was a big possibility we could see 10. So what I end up seeing is kind of forms like a little double bottom. So we get bottom here, and then it starts to reverse. Now I'm just watching it, and this thing just rips. It rips from 730 to 805. And at that point, I'm just thinking, wow, I sat here watching this, and I'm gonna miss it. I'm gonna miss the entry, and this thing's gonna rip, and I'm gonna feel like a moron. So what I did is I said, okay, I can't enter it anywhere above 750 because I get scared out too easily, and this thing is super choppy. So I said, okay, I'll just put a limit order in. Maybe I'll get lucky and get a fill. So I put a limit order in at 736. I actually got the fill. So it surged to 805, and this thing came all the way back down, and I got a 736 fill, which is pretty awesome. I mean, I never do things like this. It was like such a rare occurrence for me where I'm just like, all right, I missed the entry, but I'll just try to get in on maybe a dip, and that filled on the dip. Really great fill. Honestly, I was really happy with it because now, I'm not as stressed. I can risk like 720. I have 300 shares. It's all good. It's like $30 risk. I mean, I'm analyzing it very closely. If, let's say, a giant ask came in and the bids just looked weak, okay, I might sell it before 720. But anyways, it held up and started to make a trend. And we got a nice, it looked like it was about to go. It got over 8 again. It looked like this thing was about to fly and just squeeze all throughout power hour. I was really feeling it. I was so confident this thing was going to get to 9 or 10 and I would bank on it. But unfortunately, that just was not the case. Sometimes it just doesn't happen and it sucks, but it is what it is. So essentially, once I saw it get over this high of 805 and it didn't take off into the 820s, 30s, 40s. You know, this thing should have took off into the 840s for sure. Once it didn't do that, I was on high alert. I saw it creating another little trend. I said, okay, I'm going to see which way it wants to break. If it breaks up, we might break out. It might go. If it breaks down, look, there's nothing I can do. I gave it as much time as I can possibly give it. I'm going to cut it. What do we get? We get a breakdown, and I cut at 775. You know, disappointing result. I still made $120 on just this little, this very small move. I made $120 with 300 shares because this play is just insane. The volatility, the range, it was crazy. It was just crazy. So big opportunity. Didn't get the squeeze I was looking for, but I really like how I played it, and maybe in the future I'll just get a pre-market buy. That would be a lot easier. I feel like that'd be a lot easier than waiting around trying to catch squeezes. But regardless, it's cool to talk about this and analyze it. Don't see plays quite this crazy every day, so it's kind of cool to see. Hopefully, there will be more crazy plays to come in the future. Thanks for watching this recap, and I'll see you on the next one.